Hi, I'm here to talk about constructivism, explain its applications in the education system, why I chose it, and how I would personally apply these approaches in a classroom. I would personally define constructivism as the social framework and groundwork that helps foster cooperative learning. So, why did I choose constructivism? Well, students of all ages learn differently. I believe the method and how knowledge is delivered from the teacher to the student and them being able to derive understanding and meaning from that is really important. And I think that as a teacher, one of the best things you can do is help your students build their knowledge and do it together cooperatively in the classroom. I think constructivist approaches help to achieve this. Constructivism fits into a family of cognitive learning approaches. Its focus is that learning and meaning is built by the student. Listed here are some key principles of constructivism. Students are an active participant in their learning. The mantra is generally learning by doing. Social interaction is also key and necessary for effective learning. Final note, constructivism encourages students to make sense of what they've learned for themselves. Now, there are different ideas and interpretations. However, constructionists believe that the student plays a physical and mental role in the construction of learning and knowledge. There are two main schools of thought. Psychological constructivism. Now, this focuses on individual students and how knowledge, beliefs, and identity are formed during learning. Pierre's theory of cognitive development and the students progressing through the different stages help form the foundation of this principle. Now, while psychological constructivists generally agree and acknowledge the importance of a social environment in the classroom, they see the role of the individual learner and that environment as central. Discovery learning. This is the concept that if a child or student can make sense of and discover the connections between their learning, they can remember and apply what they've learned. Some key points are children have increased motivation to partake in knowledge acquisition and solve new problems. For example, this could be when students go outside to learn about nature for a biology class and then collecting plant samples. However, some opponents of discovery learning feel that it is unhelpful academically and lack the note of teacher input. Inquiry and problem-based learning. These are separate but related. Inquiry learning involves students asking questions and finding solutions to problems for themselves. This is often applied to scientific disciplines, while PBL has emerged from the medical and educational sectors. Now, they also are different. Inquiry learning does place an emphasis on asking scientific questions, and this can involve gathering and analysing data to reach a final conclusion, while PBL may use text-based information for data and self-directed learning, a university-level approach. Now, there are some issues. A teacher would need to be on top of their game and monitoring everything that goes on, especially for class planning. And young children and students are probably not suited as they most likely lack the cognitive ability needed. Social constructivism. Now, these approaches underline that the social processes are integral to learning and they help shape cognitive development. Social constructivist supporters are interested in how the peer-to-peer learning process can help extend knowledge and how it's reciprocated by each student. A key interest is also in the teacher's role of how learning and the environment is structured to facilitate this social interaction of everyone. Cooperative and collaborative learning. Now, benefits arise from co-construction and negotiation with this principle, such as a group working together, giving feedback to create an understanding that is greater than perhaps what they might have been able to achieve individually. Example, children in a primary school classroom all working on a geography project and then brainstorming ideas onto a whiteboard. Students would be encouraged to share their own ideas and get involved, and this would help form a greater understanding of knowledge. Now, there are some drawbacks, and one being that the academic benchmark might not be achieved, say, compared to a direct instruction approach. Peer-assisted learning. Now, this is a form of student-centered learning that encourages social interactivity between students that helps give learners chances to scaffold their knowledge while supporting and helping their colleagues to do the same. Another example, at primary school, a grade 1 and 2 buddy system reading program where for a few hours a week the classes could mix and the students would be paired up together, each taking turns listening and reading out aloud. One issue could be that sometimes that children just don't click, even older ones, and then they would need to be repaired by the teacher, potentially wasting time. Now, some pros and cons. Apart from what we have listed here, other benefits of constructivism include cultural and social interaction. They can also be tailored to different subjects and classrooms, creating an air of encouragement and participation. Now, however, there are some drawbacks. Teachers need to be able to confidently answer any questions that students might ask them. Students might get frustrated with the lack of help and answers given to them by the teacher. And supporters of direct instructional and directive teaching methods have criticised these constructivist approaches, citing that they are hands-off and a lazy way of teaching. How would I apply this in a classroom? Well, I feel that this would all depend on who and what subject I'm teaching. If I'm teaching at primary level, I would tailor my style to a social constructivist approach with elements of direct instruction and directive teaching, as the students probably wouldn't have any prior knowledge or understanding to scaffold their knowledge off. Now, I feel this would make learning fun, but keeping the students on track. And students could also brainstorm ideas during classes for different subjects. For secondary level, I think it's important to have a blend of directive teaching and social constructivist aspects to allow scope for students to research and find their own meaning and knowledge, especially in IT-based subjects, with some teacher guidance, of course. However, with mathematics and science subjects, I think that these two would fit a psychological mould, just because of the way that their curriculum is delivered. Again, this would need to be assessed closely and carefully by the teacher for any of these constructivist approaches to be successful. So in conclusion, I find constructivism really fascinating. I understand the criticisms aimed at constructivist approaches, but at the end of the day, these are all just theories and frameworks to help assist teaching and learning. And while I do acknowledge that direct instruction, behaviouralism, direct teaching, and chalk and talk methods, if applied correctly, have been proven to work, I just find constructivist approaches are more suited to me as a person and a teacher. And I love being able to tailor constructivist approaches to your classroom or the subject being taught. And I think it's great that they integrate social and cultural and the sharing of knowledge factors. It's a really big thing. So hopefully this talk has demonstrated why I feel constructivism is the social framework and groundwork that helps foster cooperative learning. Thank you.